Hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Salma Saeed. I joined product management in January, so it's been about 5 months now, and I'm the product manager for event endpoint management. But today I'll be demoing a bit more than that. I'll be demoing IBM event endpoint, IBM event automation. Wow, should get it right the first time. There we go. Cool. All right, so let's just get straight into it because I know we don't have too much time. So, what is IBM Event Automation? IBM Event Automation at a high level consists of three main capabilities that are organized in a composable way. So this means you will be able to consume one, more, or all of these capabilities depending on, for example, your maturity level in the journey to event-driven architecture. So I'm just going to quickly give a brief overview of each of these and kind of show you what they look like in event automation before I go into a deeper dive of a demo, so hopefully you can follow along a bit more. So firstly, we have event distribution. So at its core, this is all about the ability to distribute events. This is being able to get events from wherever they originate, like a backend system, to all of the places that need them, that want to process them, that might need to react to them. Now, there are many ways which you can do that, but with event automation, we have event streams. So IBM Event Streams is a fully supported Apache Kafka in the form with value add capabilities. It's a streaming platform, a streaming foundation technology that can stream events and move events around. So this is basically the foundation on which you need to build, and this needs to be something that is accessible to everyone that needs to process events. So once you are able to move events around, and get them to where they need to go, how do people even know what events exist that they could potentially tap into? So event discovery is fulfilled by event endpoint management. And for this, what we have done is kind of taken the same approach as we have taken as an industry around APIs and applied that to events. So in a nutshell, if you're familiar with API management, I'll move that to one side. If you're familiar with API management, then as a provider, you're familiar with the concept of describing an interface, socializing that description in a portal, and specifying policies to control it. And from a consumer point of view, you're used to a portal, or in our case, a catalog, where you can go and you can search and discover those endpoints. And then if it's an API, one that you might want to call, or if it's a stream of events that you might want to subscribe to. So it's worth noting here that event endpoint management also tightly integrates with API management and your external portal, so you can kind of manage events and APIs in one place. And then we have event processing. So the final thing that you need to think about is how you're going to work with those events. How are you going to transform the events that you have access to into the situations that you need to react to, that you need to know about, and that you want to track and things like that. And this might be because you're an application developer building an application that needs to send notifications out to your users when something happens. It might be you're an automation specialist that needs to trigger an automation in certain situations. Or it might even be that you're a business analyst where you have an idea about a situation that you think exists, but you need to test out your theory. So here you need all the tools that all of these people can use. And for that, in event automation, we have event processing. So now that I've kind of shown you a sneak peek of the three capabilities, I'm going to walk you through a scenario to kind of show you how you could actually use these in practice. So I'm going to start off by setting the context quickly and introducing our fictional company called Modo Jeans. So Modo Jeans are a large multinational fashion company. They have retail branches, they provide an online presence via a website and a mobile application with a significant user base. And the two main personas who will be part of our story today are Kevin and Shen. So both Kevin and Shen work at Modo Jeans. Kevin is our Kafka admin. He's responsible for Modo's order management systems. And Shen is a business analyst. Her job at Modo Jeans is to analyze Modo's product performance. Let's take a closer look at Shen's role within Modo Jeans. So one of the things that Shen is responsible for is the pricing algorithm, which has a dynamic aspect to it. So this algorithm will reduce the price of each product line once there is only a small number of units remaining, so that they can clear that final stock and make room in their warehouse for new product lines. This is actually a real use case that is deployed in a number of different scenarios and industries that we have discussed with our sponsored users. So Shen has been looking at historic sales reports and she can see a pattern emerging. She can see large orders are being placed and then cancelled in a short period of time. And she starts to suspect that some customers may be manipulating Modo's dynamic pricing to reduce the price of items that they want to buy. So what this would look like is they would be placing a large order, causing the algorithm to reduce the price of the remaining items, then placing that smaller order at that lower price for the items they actually want to buy before cancelling that initial large order that they didn't really want in the first place. So Shen really feels that historic reports just aren't sufficient for her to really understand this pattern of behaviour and certainly not able to do anything about it as it's occurring. She wants to review orders and cancellations in real time and identify that business situation occurring. So she starts by looking at the catalogue because she knows that anything to do with real time, anything to do with events, the catalogue is the place to go at Modo. So she looks to see what kinds of streams of events are available to her, and she can see that there is one that is somewhat related, but it's not really what she needs. What she really needs is to see orders as they happen and cancellations as they're made. So she goes to Emmett, her enterprise architect, and she explains her needs. Emmett says he will sort this out, and he tells her he will get his team to work on this and arrange access to a real time stream of events from their backend order systems for her. So Emmett relays this to Kevin, the Kafka admin in charge of Modo's order management systems, and asks him to set it all up. Emmett knows Modo Genes has batch systems, but he wants to move to real time. So this is what Kevin needs to do to help. So the first thing he's got to do is start looking to see how he can get some of that data from their batch systems, like their databases, into a real-time event streaming platform. So what he does is he goes to the Event Streams Connector catalog, and here he can browse and search. And something that's worth noting is we had 19 connectors here in the catalog before, we now have 58. So there are some really interesting ones here. But Kevin is interested in Postgres because that is what Modo's database is based on. So what he does, he clicks on that and you can see that there's documentation for it. He can find some samples and links to detailed lists about configuration properties and things like that. And he also has a sample here. So what he does is he gets this sample config and he puts that in the CR and he gets a connector all set up. So what those connectors are going to do is capture every time something changes in the database and then emit that as an event onto a Kafka topic. So once he's done that, if we go into event streams, we can kind of see this all set up. So if we go into topics, we can see that there are orders and cancellations. So just clicking on orders, we can see here that there's loads of events on here. And if we click on it, we can actually see some information about each event. So we've got the customer, the description, the quantity, the price, and things like that. So again, every time a new order is made, an event is emitted onto this topic. And as you can see, as I've been talking, one new order in Modo has been made. So Kevin sets this up for orders and he's also done this for cancellations. Again, we can click on it and we can see some information about the cancelled order. So we have the events from Modo's backend batch systems flowing in. So Kevin thinks he's all good. He goes back to Emmett, showing him the Kafka topics with a live stream of order and cancellation events. But Emmett says that he needs to document them and publish them to the catalogue so Shen can easily find and understand the topics that will suit her business situation and give her the ability to sign up to have self-service access. So Kevin has a bit more work to do. What he does is he goes to Event Endpoint Management. So if we go into Event Endpoint Management and we go onto the topics page, as Kevin has the view of that. So something to note here is that we should have an add topic button. Currently this is under development with our amazing engineers. So I've just seeded the system at the moment to kind of show you. So I'm just going to edit it here and add them in. So he will edit the information, he adds in the topic name, he will add in a description. So for example, events from the backend ordering system. And he can add in some more tags. There's the contact information for Kevin. He also then needs to add an Avro schema. So he can add in his order Avro schema and he can provide a helpful description, hopefully more helpful than that, and a sample message. So for this, as Kevin has set up his topics, he can go on to his order topics, and for a sample message, he can just pick off any one and use that as his sample message to document in event endpoint management so Shen can actually see what kind of data is on this topic to understand if this is something that she would find useful. You can click save on that. So you can see everything's been populated now. We have the sample message and things like that. So all he has to do is just publish this to the catalog so Shen can have access to it. And he chooses the gateway group that he wants to publish to and clicks publish topic. And now that's all good. So he's going to do the same with cancellations. As you can see, orders has now been published. We go into cancellations and we just quickly do the same. So I'll just call this cancellations and refunds. We'll leave that as it is. We'll add in an Avro schema, so again, an Avro schema for cancellations this time. And Kevin can only provide schema or sample message, but he's feeling especially helpful today, so he's going to provide both. So we're going to go on to cancellations, grab that sample message there and pop that in. Lovely. And then just going to publish this to the catalogue as well. So that's all good. Now Kevin is all done. So now that Kevin has documented and published the topics, Emmett tells Shen that everything is set up and she should have everything she needs. Event streams from the order system are now available in the catalogue. So Shen gets to work. Shen, our business analyst, is going to discover the topics that Kevin has just created. So Shen has this catalogue view, and as we can see, there are now 2 more events in this catalogue. So we can click on orders, for example, and Shen can see the information that Kevin has just written in. So she can see the description, she can see a sample message, she can see, okay, it has the price and the quantity. Those are the kind of fields and information of data that I want to use. She can see that if she needs any help, the person to contact is kevin@modo.com. So everything she needs will be on this page for her here. And after looking at orders and cancellations, she thinks that this is exactly what she wants and she wants to make use of this. So Shen decides to make use of this, and how to do that is she can go into event processing. So you can see I've created a couple just to check it's working, but we can do one live here. So we'll call it suspicious orders. Shen's going to create a flow to kind of determine the initial story that I set out, finding that small order that's been placed after a large order has been placed. So we're going to call it situations where large orders have been placed and then cancelled quickly after. That will do. Lovely. All right, and then once she's done that, she's launched into our Canvas experience where she can choose from all these different nodes. She can choose event sources to get those streams of events coming from the catalogue. She's able to create a destination to send those events to, and she's also able to do some various processes. So she can do filtering, transform, and aggregate, as well as joining multiple events together as part of a situation. The first thing she's going to do is start by creating an event source for her orders topic. So she's going to get those events from the catalogue that she's seen from the orders topic into here. So she's going to click on edit and type in orders. So she needs details of the server, so she will get this from Event Endpoint Management. So if we go back to the catalogue and orders page, we can see in the gateway endpoint, she can just copy that and paste that in here and clicks next. It will then come up to say that it verifies that there's a self-signed certificate, and she says that she's happy to accept that, so that's fine. Then she needs some credentials to access this topic. So again, in Event Endpoint Management, she can generate some access credentials very easily. So she can just put in shen@modojeans.com and click subscribe. And that's it. She has her username and password to pop in straight away. So we'll pop that in there. Awesome. And then she clicks next. So the system takes about 30 seconds, so hopefully this shouldn't be longer than 30 seconds. But yeah, so what this is going to do is for in Event Endpoint Management, you create credentials for one single topic. And as you can see here, the only topic she's able to choose is orders because that's the credential she's created it for. So she's going to select that one. Then what she needs to do is describe the events on this topic, and she can do that by providing a schema or a sample message, and as we've seen, we can see that in Event Endpoint Management. So we'll just close this off, we'll grab the schema because it's open, and pop that in there for the orders, and that's that. Then she needs to define the structure for the events of this topic, and she can see the types of these. So she's looking and she's like, she wants the quantity to be an integer, and she needs to define what she wants to be her timestamp, and she just selects that in there to use that in the time-based calculations. Clicks configure, and that's all done. Next thing she wants to do is, now she has her streams of orders, she's going to start by picking out large orders that impact the pricing. So we're going to filter this out and pop that in there, and we're just going to click edit and call this large orders. So she has some help for her to understand how a filter works if she needs it. Shen still doesn't really understand after looking at that, so she's going to use the assistant here. And she's going to select that a large order is greater than 12 items. So she's going to pop that in and configure that filter. Amazing. So we now want to correlate that with cancellations. So we need to add in another event source into here, and we're going to call that cancellations. And again, she needs to go back to event endpoint management, go onto the cancellations topic this time, pop it on here, and get connected to that. Again, just accept the certificates, and she's good to go. She then needs to create some credentials for this. So again, she'll pop in and just click subscribe. She will then get her username and password to pop in as before. And then again, this one should only show up the cancellations topic for her to select. Being very unlucky with these timings. Right. So once she's done that again, she will then go back onto defining the event structure as well. Let me just check I've got these correct. Very secure. Okay. Perfect. Clicking on cancellations topic, we'll click on next. Okay, and again, so last time we did a schema, let's do a sample message this time, just for completeness. Pop that in there. Amazing. And then again, we just want to find the timestamp that we want to use in our calculations. Perfect. Okay, so now Shan wants to correlate large orders that have been cancelled. So she can do that with these two here. So she's going to add in a join, and she can pop connect up her large orders and her stream of cancelled orders as well, and she can edit that. And we can just call this cancelled large orders to make it easier. And we're just going to configure this join. So the way she's going to join these together is correlate with the order ID. Again, she has some help if she needs it. We're going to use the assistant though. So we're going to click on ID from large orders and order ID from cancellation. So those kind of represent the same thing. That's how we're going to join them there. And then we need to select the property that we want to watch for. So she's interested in how soon after an order is made that she's interested in that it gets cancelled. So for this, she'll use the cancellation timestamp. She'll select the property and she'll say about 30 minutes. So, and there's a little helpful graph here as well, and click next. Okay, so now she needs to choose what field she's interested in. So she might not care about some, she might want to rename others. So we'll call this order. So as you can see, the wizard is kind of helping make sure I don't have duplicate columns here. She wants the customer, the description, price, quantity. She doesn't want the region. She'll change this to be order, timestamp. Does she care about the ID? No, we'll have order ID. And we'll call that she wants timestamp. If I could spell, that would be good. Cancellation timestamp. We don't want the reason, and I think I do want the ID back in again, so I'll pop that in. Perfect. All right, we'll keep those as is. And we'll move this one. Perfect. And click submit. Okay, cool. So now she has these large orders that were cancelled. She wants to correlate that with small orders of the same product to find those suspicious orders. So she'll take another stream of events and filter the small orders. And remember, large orders that she created before were larger than 12. So we'll call this small orders. And what she's going to do here is quantity will be, for her, she's going to say, I don't know, less than 7. Add that in. Perfect. Okay, so again, she's going to want to join these up. So we'll add a join in here, pop this in here, and we will call this suspicious orders. Okay. So again, what's the field she's going to use to correlate? Well, we'll have a look and we can see, well, there's description and there's also description from cancelled large orders. So we'll use that to correlate that. And in terms of a property, so again, she needs to define the time window. So she's just going to say this was a small order and was made soon after that large order was made. So she's going to call the small order timestamp, and we're going to use this and do again 30 minutes. Should be good to go. Again, we're going to want to sort this out. So I'll call this order ID. We want customer, we want description, we want price. We'll have quantity as well. We don't want region, timestamp. Yeah, we will add that in. So we can do some timestamp based calculations. We don't need that. We already have customer description, price, and quantity. Order timestamp. Yep, we will use this, and we'll just call this cancelled. So, perfect. We can remove these two. So that's what we have as our output. So what this is going to give me is information about that small order that was made, what was ordered, and the details about that earlier cancellation. And submit that there. Okay, so I know I don't have much time, but I did want to quickly do a transform to kind of show you what Shen can do with that data that she'll get. So if we click on edit here, and I'm just going to call this output. Click on next. Okay, so here she can remove some properties and she can add some properties. So she can do some simple ones. So for example, she can do order price, and she could just type it in if she's comfortable. She's kind of getting used to it now. So she's going to do quantity times price. She can create another property as well. So let's say she wants to find order delays. So we'll put order delay in there, and she can use the assistant for this. So she can just click on this and she can see all of the different functions that are available, but she's running out of time. So she's going to click time to find timestamp difference. So what she's going to do here is select the time window that she wants to use. So we're going to use seconds, and she's going to use this order timestamp and copy it so I don't misspell it. And she's going to use the cancel timestamp here as well. So that's going to get the difference between the time the order was placed and the time the order was cancelled. Insert that to expression and submit that. Amazing, now she's done. So all she has to do is click save and click run. Hopefully this works. So she can click run from historical. So when Shen is developing her flow, it's easiest for her just to click on that, because then that will get events coming in from right at the start of the topic. So as you can see, there's events coming in. We have 20, 21, etc. So I'm just going to pause that for now. So Shen can see all this data, all her results in a table. She's very used to using Excel and working with data and things like that, so this is a familiar form for her. And we can see the other columns that we've created, the order price and order delay. What Shen can actually do, now that she's paused this, is download this as a CSV. And we can call this suspicious, because that's fine, and then we can open this up. So if I open this up in Excel, what Shen can do is then have a closer look at all this stuff. And if I just open these up a little bit. So Shen has done her flow, she's done all that stuff, and she's got these results. And she wants to see which are those suspicious orders. And with that order delay column that she's created, she can see that that large order was cancelled very quickly after that small order was made, compared to all these other ones that were small orders. So she can see that these two look very suspicious, and Naughty Nigel and Suspicious Bob seem like the targets. So you can see this is what she can do. But also, if she got the filter wrong and she couldn't find these results, she can very easily go back into this flow and click stop, and she can very easily just edit that small order and say, say if that small order was supposed to be less than 5 instead of less than 7, she can just edit that and click run again and get those new generated results. So that's really good for her. I had a backup in case it didn't work, but I've shown you that live, so that's great. So I did just want to quickly summarize what Shen has done that's actually really interesting. So this is the timeline going from oldest on the left and newest on the right. And it's about being able to recognize an order event that was made. So, where that order had a bunch of attributes to it, but there was nothing about that one event alone that made it stand out as being suspicious. So, Shen could already tell this was suspicious by looking at that event in the context of other events that happened before and after it. So, it's all about that ability to recognize event in the context of other events that are happening, where it's those attributes of those events correlating to this one event. That's what Shen was able to do. And it's not just that there was only three events that were hitting that topic. As you saw, it was being able to spot in that context of lots of events where there's a lot of stuff happening, being able to pick that needle out of the haystack, being able to see that in all of that noise. That's what Shem was able to do in that 10 minutes or so of low code flow editing. So now that Shen has prototyped, she can also choose to put this onto a Kafka topic, and this would be then in a form that's very easily consumed by a wide range of automation tools, which could be anything from an automation workflow, a digital system from Watson Orchestrate, or anything like that. So what Shen has been able to do with event processing in IBM Event Automation is do that difficult bit of identifying the event trigger, and that can now be used. So once she's prototyped and validated a solution, to then automate responses to take the next best action and really improve the business outcomes at Modo Jeans. And then I did really just quickly want to round off. It's the next day, Kevin's wondering, I wonder if anyone's used my topics. Well, he can actually find out. Going into event endpoint management, he can go onto topics and he can see his orders topics, for example. And if he clicks on manage, he will be able to see Shen at Modo Jeans on the 24th, which is today, has subscribed and has been using that. And he can actually revoke that. So he has complete control of who's using his topics. So, a quick summary. I started off by showing you a variation of the slide, explaining very conceptually, but now hopefully after listening to the presentation and watching the demo, you can see how these three make up the complete set of event-driven capabilities. So for event distribution, we have event streams, an event distribution layer based on Apache Kafka. For event discovery, we have event endpoint management, which enables existing events to be discovered and consumed by any user and lets you manage your event sources like APIs to securely use them across the enterprise. And event processing, where users can put their events to work and create their business situations and see the output quickly to find useful insights.